Sahana vavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. My heartfelt greetings to our respected Honorable Vice Chancellor of Sri Balayogi Vidyapith, Professor S.C. Pareja, sir, dignitaries on the dais, each and every potentially divine soul sitting in this audience, making today possible, and the Almighty who brings people together with a purpose. Nothing is done purposeless in this universe. And the moment we realize everything has a purpose, we start to ask the question, what is that purpose? And that is where the great yogis started off by saying, Koham, who am I? And in that journey, you finally realize you are that highest Soham. When we talk about creating a conscious humanity and the yogic perspective, we start off with the concept of, you can go on to the next one actually. Yeah, this is that. Yeah. This also you can go on. Yeah, just at this point I want. In our center at our university, and I'm doubly blessed to have our Vice Chancellor sir here with us today, we are able to bring the concept of yoga as a lifestyle modification, as a way of life, and as a mind-body medicine into the healthcare system. And each and every student of our university, be them medical students, dental students, nursing students, pharmacy students, physiotherapy students, they get a chance to learn yoga right from day one. And I think this is a very unique opportunity, because in this opportunity, we get the chance for integration to occur. And I'm going to come back to this concept of integration later on also. Are you okay with this? Yeah. One second. Yeah. And you can see here how the medical students, the nursing students, and our faculty are getting the yoga. So I wanted to place on record so that people realize this is happening here in Pondicherry. And that is why when Sir said that we would take up studies in this, it is not just an empty promise made on the stage, but something that can definitely happen, because we have a fully functioning center for yoga therapy, music therapy. So I can foresee many good things happening in the future. Now coming back to the point of creating a conscious humanity the yogic way. And here we start off with this slide, which is a blank slide. And so you say, did Ananda forget to put something on that slide? I haven't forgotten to put anything on that slide, but in the beginning, it was something like this. And so there's this concept of emptiness that had to be filled. We talk about Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat. From that complete came the complete, and after the complete comes from the complete, it still remains complete. And if you go on to the next slide, I wanted to ask you about this. So this is the first thing I'm showing after that empty slide. And the question comes, what is this? And I'm going to give you a multiple choice answer as we are from the medical field. So the first choice is alien ships attacking Mother Earth. Okay? Second one, tadpoles in a pond. The third one, bacteria attacking a human cell. And the last one, human sperm swimming towards an ovum. Well, the next slide gives you the answer, human sperm swimming towards an ovum. Now this is for those who haven't thought about a few of these things, and I thought let's start right where it all is. Next one, please. So here we are talking of the sperm and the egg of modern science, which from the ancient scientific perspective can be understood as Purusha and Prakriti. So what we are trying to do is understand through the prism of modern science and re-understand what our ancients have given us. And the cultural understanding of this is the Shiva Shakti principle that you can find in the Kashmiri Shaivism as well as our Saiva Siddhanta right down here in Tamil Nadu. The next one. So again another image, it's a beautiful image and it looks like one of those extraterrestrial movie sort of type of things. But you can see where that one sperm, the moment it comes together with the ovum, the rest of the sperms now have no job to do. And so it is one. And this reminds me of a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita that talks about the 1 in the million phenomenon, where out of thousands of beings, one may seek me, and out of the one of thousands who seek me, one reaches me. So the chances are 1 in a million. And this slide immediately brings to mind that opportunity. Now, this is the opportunity we have to be born human. The opportunity to be born human is 1 in a million, and yet we take it for granted. So here, if you look at the human genetics, you have the genes and the chromosomes. Spiritual genetics talks about the samskaras and the vasanas. And this is where the samskara vasana patterns are what we are trying to work with when we talk about creating a conscious humanity. This is where the samskara and vasanas have to be understood. So these samskaras and vasanas, we have to go back to the Sankhya and Yoga philosophy that talks about the Purusha as the cosmic consciousness. We have then the Prakriti where you have the Buddhi, the Ahankara, Manas. You have all the Karmendriyas and the Jnanendriyas, and you have this whole effect happening that we experience as our life in this universe. This is actually based on a very simple formula if you look at it. Action, which is karma, creates an impression which can be understood as a samskara, creating a tendency which is the vasana, manifesting a thought pattern which is a vritti, again leading to action, that again then continues the samskara, vasana, vritti, karma, samskara, vasana, vritti, and this keeps on going on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and until you bring your consciousness in to change something. If you don't bring your consciousness in, you do not change it, and you become an animal of habit. Now, the moment you are a human being, it is expected you can make a conscious choice to break through those habits. So, if you look at this, we are basically balancing karma at two effects. That is, one is the cause and one is the effect. So, karma is also the cause, karma is also the effect. Now, what enables the balance to occur is the dharma, which is conscious living. So I want to bring in this concept right at the beginning to you, that we say, oh, it is my karma, what can I do, in a negative sense. Karma is what we do, and karma is what occurs because of what we do. Both are karma, but the balance of the karma lies in us living our dharma, which is our purposeful living, which is consciousness, awareness, mindfulness. And this is where the very vital concept which I would like to bring today, and I used to have a certain perspective, and thanks to Sampadananda ji, I have now got it technically corrected also, Yato Mana Tata Prana. And this is a concept where the mind goes, there the energy flows. So the moment you are talking about conception, you are talking about energy. Because the human conception can be understood as a microscopic version of the macroscopic Big Bang. So the Big Bang, where everything starts, and the Big Bang is your conception moment, we could understand that we as the microcosm are nothing but a parallel to the macrocosm. Andathil ulladai pindam, pindathil ulladai andam. What's in the anda is in the pinda, what is in the pinda is the anda. This is a concept very well understood. So where your mind goes, if your mind is going into negativity, you are energizing the negativity. If your mind goes into the positivity, you are energizing the positivity. So we have a choice today, at this point in human history. Are we going to put our mind on negativity and fall into the age-old trap of dead habit? Or are we going to make conscious choices to change the world by being the change we want to see in it? That is where we are talking about creating conscious humanity. Next one. And this is why we have to realize we have to take responsibility for everything we do. Because, as the joke goes, some people spend the first 6 days of the week sowing wild oats and then go to church or mosque or temple on Sunday and pray for a crop failure. We are not praying for crop failures. We are trying to make sure that when we seed the crop, we are seeding it consciously. This is the key here. Next one. So again, that samskara, vasana, karma, this I want you to keep in mind throughout your time here. That is all about the samskara, vasana, karma cycle that we are trying to influence by going off on a tangent. How do you get out of it? By going on a tangent. How do you make a tangential escape? By generating the velocity. How do you generate the velocity? By the power of intent. That power of intent, positive intent, generates the velocity to go out of this. And that is where you make the difference. Next one. So this is a cartoon I drew many years ago, where you can see that waiting list up there, and they are like, when will I get mine? Wow, I'm getting a new body. And you can see how the vasanas, the karma, the punya, papa, leading the person to come and land head down and then head out through the maternity home. Yeah, and we talk about many factors determining one's next incarnation. This was about 10 years, 15 years back, I drew this cartoon. And the moment I got this topic, I said I have to include it, because it's too good not to include. Next one. There's a beautiful verse from Abhaya. She is the Tamil poetess, and she talks about this. She says, Aridu aridu, maanidarai pirattal aridu. To be born human is the rarest of the rare. It's an opportunity for which we should be grateful, and then we are expected to live as a human. My father used to say, God breathed into man the first breath of life, and then thought he will keep it going. Now the problem is, the divine started it off and expected us to do the job, and then we got busy with our mobile phones. Okay, we got sidetracked by the internet and Facebook and Twitter, and we have gone off track. A very beautiful verse. It is rare to be born human, rarest of rare to be a compassionate and disciplined human being. That is where the choice comes in. Can we develop compassion, empathy, as Sir was saying, and the discipline, which is what tapas is all about. Tapas is not going to the forest, it is being disciplined wherever you are. And that is why the spiritual quality of such a human incarnation is enhanced when we are given the chance to create a future offspring in a truly conscious manner. And I should have underlined that thing. No conception is an accident in the universal scheme of things. Now I remember many years ago when I was a doctor in Auroville Health Center, and a young woman came in, and I was a new doctor, very innocent, and she said, Doctor, last night I had an accident. And I'm like, where did you get injured? What she was talking about is a contraceptive failure. And for me, that was the first time I ever heard that word accident used in that context. And I always remind myself of this. We think it is a failure, we think it is an accident. No. The bigger picture is that it was to be that way. But we don't understand it because we think, oh, I didn't plan it. Well, you didn't plan it, but there was something else bigger, your samskaras and vasanas and karma patterns that were pulling you into that situation. And because you didn't have consciousness, you were not aware of what was happening. So it had to happen as an accident for you rather than as a purposeful effort. So as parents, we are bound by responsibility to be as conscious as possible for the new living being we are creating. Next one. So when we truly care, we become careful. And when this is done with love, we enable the divinity of each Atma, to manifest through us in the best possible manner. We have an opportunity for an Atma, the divinity of the Atma, to manifest through us. It is not my child, but it is a child that I have been blessed to create. It's a divine child who I have been the tool to create it. It is that nimitta bhava, which is a tool attitude rather than I did it and it's my big bloated ego who did it. Next one. This is where yoga, it focuses on right living and right thinking while having the various tools. So it's not just the tools, but it is the perspectives and the attitudes that come in. And that is why it is common sense living. If people say, what is yogic living? I say it's just common sense living. Actually it is. But common sense died long ago and have an obituary written on the net also for it. Next one. So the various practices, we have the jatis, the kriyas, the asanas, they are promoting healthy functioning of all the organ and body systems. Pranayama induces the psychosomatic harmony, and the mudras and bandhas, they harmonize. There is a vayu, a prana vayu called apana, which is the pelvic energy. And this is the energy that is very vital in the whole pelvic conception and maintenance of the pregnancy and the delivery. So that apana vayu needs to be healthy and harmonized. That is where the practices come in. And the anahata chakra, the heart center, is related to the upastha karmendriya, which is the sense of reproduction. And that is why work with the anahata, work on the heart center, is so vital for proper reproduction, to be love and not lust. And I'm going to repeat that. If the anahata is working properly, it will be love and not lust. Love is a conscious decision. Lust is an animal subhuman tendency. I'm not going to say animal, I withdraw that. Subhuman tendency. Animals are just being themselves. So nothing against animals at all. Lust is a subhuman tendency. Love is a human choice. And that is where the anahata has to be there. We have the contemplative practices, dharana, dhyana, especially the mandala dharana, which is on the nabi. This mandala dharana, this is the nabi, the navel center called Manipura chakra. It is our psychic umbilical cord that connects us with our universal mother. And Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras tells us, when you contemplate the nabi chakra, kaya vyuha jnanam, you understand how the whole body is created and arranged by contemplating the navel center. So when people talk about belly gazing, they are not too far off the mark. It is actually good if done in a positive way. Because this is the sense of creativity. The navel center is where creativity occurs as a conscious choice. And the yogic relaxation is vital because relaxation is where anabolism is there. Anabolism is the growth energy. And growth energy should be proper when the baby is being developed. The next one. The yogic diet, Satwik food. Food influences how we think. So Satwik food is important. Lacto-vegetarian, especially for the mother because of calcium, iron and other essential vitamins and minerals. And again, uplifting the mother's consciousness, fathers also. Okay, I'm going to come to the father a little later. But the fathers also, because if you look at the reason why most IT professionals today are getting divorces, it is because of sexual malfunctioning and these type of issues. And something as simple as Satwik diet and relaxation can save many marriages in the IT sector. People haven't tried it, but it's a major issue. Next one. So pregnancy is a special time. We talk about it as 40 weeks or 280 days from the LMP with 3 trimesters. It is the creation time of a firm foundation that will last the whole of the child's life. Next one. I have put a photo of my mother with me when I was a very small boy and she was teaching me to be a lion. I was trying to be a cat. And now her with my kids, our kids, my wife's here, there's Sena's here, so it's our kids, not just I couldn't have done it alone. So definitely it's there. And a beautiful statement she talks about when she delivered me. It was on a Sunday in the Cluny Hospital at midday. And she says, I must confess that bearing, delivering and raising my son has been the single most significant spiritual experience of my life. My first real initiation into the blissful state of yoga, a oneness and communion with the universe on a nearly mystical level. This is how she perceived her pregnancy. This is how she perceived the conception, the pregnancy, and bringing me up. So anything I am today is a result of the consciousness that my parents put into it, and not just my big bloated ego. It is the choice they made, and that is why gratitude is so important towards people who make those choices. The next one. So it is a divine blessing to be a mother. Often you have the young women who think, oh my God, I'm pregnant, my career is gone, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. People think of it as a negative tendency. It is a divine blessing that only you women have. We men can never have that opportunity to know what it is to be a mother. Have that 9 months of bonding with your child even before you see it in person. Imagine that amazing bond that is developed. No wonder, even if you are 80, your mother still says, watch out when you cross the road. Because that bond goes back right from the time of conception. Next one. The emotional and physical preparation for the mother and the father also, it is very important because right from day one, that moment of conception, these are going to influence. The samskara, vasana patterns are going to be influencing, and that is why, as has been said earlier, Ashtavakra, Prahalada, Abhimanyu, these are people, there was a great consciousness in how they were conceived, how they were kept in the mother's womb, and how they were delivered. And this is why they are part of our story, so that we will understand it is not just Prahalada who was like that, but you can also create a child who can be like Prahalada. It is not just Abhimanyu who was like that, but you can also create an Abhimanyu, but please make sure you tell him how to get out of trouble also. Huh? You can also create an Ashtavakra, but make sure you don't curse him. Ashtavakra became Ashtavakra because his father cursed him, because he started arguing while he was in the womb. And now, this is what many students do with their teachers also. So you have to be very careful. So you say, okay, fine, I want an Ashtavakra without that Vakra part. I want an Ashtavatara Jnani or something like that. Next one. And that is why modern medicine now has realized the importance, as Sir was saying, of maternal, mental and emotional status. And right in the 50s, there has been some good work that emotional and physical preparation is important, because fear causes pain. Now, you know what happens in our young women? The moment they are pregnant, all the women around them will start telling them stories. My labor went on for 36 hours. I had this much pain. It will be this much problem. That will happen. This will happen. And that poor mother, seriously, she gets so terrified. No wonder she has pain, because she has fear. From Bhaya. That is why the Bhaya is the aspect we have to be careful. That in the, wanting to help her know the reality. And no two deliveries are the same, okay? No two pregnancies are the same. No two human beings are the same. No two lives are the same. So then why should we scare these young mothers? Let us support them. And I still remember when Devasena was delivering our daughter in Jipma. And we had a beautiful obstetrician, Dr. Devendra, who's now in Jipma. He was, they were in the delivery room, and Devendra told me, he said, Ananda, you sit outside. Because if you come inside, you will get too upset. Because, the problem is when you know some things, and it's your wife and your child, you get all. So he said, you sit outside. So I was sitting outside, and suddenly he ran out. And I'm like, what are you doing? He said, no, I'll be back in 5 minutes. And my heartbeat started going. 5 minutes later, he came back with a CD player. And I'm like, what's this guy done? And he went inside and played Om chanting while Devasena was delivering my daughter. Now that is consciousness. I didn't think about it. He thought about it. And I always think about it, what type of environment is the mother delivering in? It's seriously, I tell you, most of the time it's this bright light, air-conditioned rooms, and no wonder the baby, when it comes out, the first thing it does is, ah! No wonder, because, seriously, I was so happy. I was in this warm, beautiful place, resting, and suddenly, so fear causes pain, which in turn causes more fear, which in turn causes more pain. You have got into a vicious spiral. So we have to break that by saying, don't worry. Indian culture says abhaya. All our divine iconography says abhaya, fear not. Give that confidence. Don't worry. It may have been like that for somebody else. For you, it can be okay. Be positive. Take it forward. Do what you need to do. Next one. And that is why we have the beautiful traditional views, the Garbhopanishad, the Sushruta Samhita. I'm not going to go into detail, but these exist. And if you are interested in this field, please go into these type of scriptures. Next one. If you go into Thirumandiram, he talks about the Swara Yoga or Vasi Yoga. and how right nostril, left nostril flow, the strength of the flow can also affect the baby. So you become more aware of it. Similarly, if you look at it, he talks about the birth imperfections. He talks about why they happen so that you can prevent it. This is preventive medicine, so that you know what needs to be done, so that you don't have those issues later on. The next one. And that is why we have the asanas, pranayama, mudra, bandha, as I said earlier. And the last one is very interesting, Nada Yoga. In our hospital, we did some work on that, and I was thinking of it when Sampadananda ji talked about Dva Hridaya? Do Hridaya, because we were looking at the maternal and fetal cardiovascular parameters for the chanting of the Om. So we had the mothers listen to Om through a headphone, and we also had them chant it as a akara, ukara, makara. And amazing changes we have documented as our pilot studies. So definitely with our VC sirs' support, this can become something bigger with your involvement also in that way. Next one. So here are just a few illustrative samples. It depends on the mother, it depends on her capacity. This was when Devasena was pregnant with our first daughter. And so the Parivrata Trikona in the beginning to create good health. The next one, the Bharadwaja, these are very good practices to help the energy flow in the heart center and the abdominal area flow properly. The next one, Baddha Kona to work on the Apana Vayu in the pelvic region. An excellent practice for, we teach it right from the kids when they are 5. So I have children coming to me when they are 5. Teach the young girls when they are 5. Let them grow up with these practices so that they are prepared when they get married and get pregnant. Don't wait for them to come 2 days before delivery. That is the problem we have. So, you need to start early. Next one. The Supta Baddha Kona. In the West, they call it the princess pose. I don't know why they call it the princess pose, but that's what they call it. Supta Baddha Kona, where you lie down with this, it's an amazing practice for the Apana Vayu, the energy in the pelvic region. And it's a very beautiful relaxation. If you have problem with the knees, you can always put some pillows below it. That is acceptable. Next one. The Utkatasana. This was the traditional way babies were delivered in India. Till we had people bring civilization to us. And they said, oh, you are uncivilized and you should lie down in the lithotomy position. Seriously, the worst possible position when you think of the gravitational efforts. In this position, the mother is held by gravity. And you used to have the village woman, they would dig a nice hole in the ground, pad it up with clothes, squat, and the baby came out normally and no issues. And then we said, lie down with your legs up, and then we say push. It's quite interesting actually when you think how things have changed. And the Utkatasana is amazing when you think about the quality of helping the mother learn to let the Apana Vayu move out. That is especially for the delivery. The next one. The Chatushpada, this 4-footed practice, is a godsend for the mothers. Because what it does, it takes the weight off the lower back. One of the biggest problems the mothers have is, as the baby grows bigger, it puts a strain on the lower back. And the moment you put into this, you can take that strain off, and the baby is comfortable, the mother is comfortable, and again, you are working at negating the negative effects of gravity here. Similarly, in the beginning stages, the Ekapada Uttan, bent knee, straight knee, depending on the thing, for the Apana Vayu, the next one. And Nishpandasana, a beautiful relaxation on the side to give them a chance to, just enjoy a moment of relaxation. Depending on the size of the fetus, you have to be careful on the right or the left because sometimes the blood vessels get compressed. The next one. The Meru Asana is again another very good practice. They can keep the knees bent, again taking the negative effects of gravity off. The next one. These type of pelvic work, especially I would say even pre-pregnancy, these are amazing to create a positive focus in the pelvic region. Create a positive focus rather than a negative focus. Most of the time people have a very negative focus to the body, and especially the pelvic region, people have a very, very negative focus. They think it's something, very dirty, something very sinful. And to again remember that it is the sacral area, which means sacred. Sacred area is sacral. And we have moved away from having sacredness in the pelvis. It's something to be again brought back into our consciousness. Similarly, the pranayamas, the different pranayamas which we bring in for psychosomatic harmony and energization. The Ashwini Mudra Mula Bandha, these are practices that work on that pelvic floor. And the pelvic floor, if the person has a good, confident, strong pelvic floor, they are going to be confident in the whole process of pregnancy. And very good practices, the Nada Yoga and Mantra, as I said. Again, we can go on this, I've already talked about. I'll just present a few small research findings that have come up. It's interesting that there is some good work in this as of now, yes. So what they found, a study in 2009, is that the women practicing yoga in the second trimester had less physical pain, and also their perceived stress was less and anxiety was less. So this is actually a very positive finding. Fewer pregnancy discomforts, higher outcome and self-efficacy. Again, a very important thing. You have empowered the mother rather than somebody else doing it for her. And again, this adaptive autonomic response work by Satyapriya at NIMHANS has shown some very good autonomic work, the sympathetic parasympathetic balance, which is a very important aspect of all yoga benefits. The next one. Higher maternal comfort and less labor pain. Now, isn't that wonderful? If you were a mother delivering, wouldn't you want to be more comfortable? Wouldn't you want to have less pain? And again, shorter duration of the first stage and total time of labor, a study from S. Vyasa in 2008. And again, nausea and depression being less, improved birth weight, especially in India, we have a major issue with IUGR, intrauterine growth retardation, and you can enhance that. And complications like pregnancy-induced hypertension showed lower trends, a study again from S. Vyasa. This was the work we did on Sukha Pranayama by one of our MPhil. We have an MPhil in yoga therapy as part of our work at Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, which is a research degree. And this was a BNYS doctor who did this work in pregnant mothers. Sukha Pranayama, which is basically slow, deep, equal inspiration, expiration. That's all. Just breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. That's all. And if you do this for 10 minutes, immediately you start to have benefits in pregnant mothers. So it's very simple tools. They don't have to be complicated tools. And what we found is that the maternal heart rate, blood pressure, and fetal heart rate, they reduce significantly even after one session. So even just doing it once is helping that mother and baby. So, you know, just imagine what can happen there. And this we have then developed, if you go on to the next slide, through the Nada Yoga of the Pranava, where 60 antenatal mothers, they listen to Om on their headphone, performing the Pranava. And again, we found that. But what was very interesting is the mothers told us, they said, while we were doing the Makara Nada, that is the they said, we experience more fetal activity. Now, what normally happens in the ward is the doctors, the nurses come along and say, is the baby moving? And the mother says, not much. They say, get up and walk. So they have to walk up and down that ward. And then the baby is moving and everybody's happy. So you don't have to do that. All you have to do is have the mothers go, and they had that same effect. Plus, they felt better. There was a connection with the fetus, and the maternal cardiovascular and fetal cardiovascular parameters show a significant reduction, means they are much more relaxed and comfortable when they are listening to the Om or they're chanting it. The next one. Again, I can never stop without talking about the Satwik diet, because what we eat is so vital for how we feel, how we think, and what we are. So if you eat dead food, if you eat putrefied food, if you eat food that has been in the refrigerator for 6 weeks, definitely don't expect any good energy to be there in you. It's as simple as that. So when we are eating Satwik food, now people say, oh, vegetarian food is Satwik. Yes, vegetarian food, if freshly cooked and eaten, is Satwik. Vegetarian food put in the refrigerator, double heated after 2 days is not Satwik. It is the most tamasic food you can ever have. So again, one has to be careful. Don't get into this vegetarian is Satwik, non-vegetarian is tamasic, you know, or rajasic. We get into this. You have to again think what is the type of food, and you have to look at the cultural factors. You have to look at the dietary aspects of that culture. You cannot tell an Eskimo that, no, you have to eat vegetarian. That's not going to be possible. You have to understand what are the cultural factors, ethnic factors involved also. And one more thing is very important, this postnatal care. The mother delivers, goes home, and then people stop thinking about it. It's very important because yoga helps to restore the uterus, abdomen and pelvic floor to pre-pregnancy levels. And this is very, very important for the self-esteem of the mother. Otherwise they feel, I gave birth to you and look at me, what happened after I gave birth to you. And then they take it out on the baby. It creates a negative relationship. And again, the yoga practices relax the mind. So the psychoneuroendocrinology, that is how you feel, influences your nervous system and your endocrine system. So the milk production is there. And again, facilitating a healthy mother-baby bonding. That is the primary relationship that we have. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava. Always the mother comes first. Next one. So some concluding thoughts here. Indian culture understands and respects mother as the first god, even before the father and guru. It can be said that motherhood is the ultimate yoga sadhana, as attainment of motherhood is a height of ego-lessness, the goal of spirituality. And the mother has to totally let go of thinking of herself. It's always about how the baby is, what the baby needs. It's quite amazing actually, that ego-lessness, which is actually the goal of spirituality they are experiencing. To be such a mother, consciously aware of the great spiritual nature of pregnancy, childbirth, for this our young girls must start yoga early and continue into adulthood. So start early, don't wait for them to come in the third trimester. It doesn't mean when they come in third trimester you don't do anything, but you do something for them, but please start with the young girls even before they come to puberty, because then you have already created a beautiful, healthy mind-body emotion pattern. Next one. We need to inculcate healthy, positive attitudes towards childbearing and child rearing. If we want to produce healthy and spiritually potent children that can transform this planet into a Satya Loka, that beautiful place where that reality, that truth can prevail in its multidimensional aspects. The role of the father must never be underestimated, because his involvement in both the practical yoga sessions as well as in the adoption of the yogic diet with positive attitudes is vital for the success of the program. Because you do it, you teach the mother everything, she goes home and he says, no, this will not work. Gone. So we like to have the fathers also come into the class. If you can get both the parents into the class, well, you have an amazing, successful future awaiting you. Because families that do the yoga together actually bond so much better. Harmonious energy flows of the apana vayu for the male. Why are they having issues? Azoospermia. There is a less number of sperms. They are not able to produce proper sperms. The apana vayu is not working. Work with these yoga practices that we have talked about for pregnant ladies. With the men, you enhance that pelvic function in them also. And yoga helps the family bond together, creating healthy interpersonal relationships. The Bhagavad Gita tells us that by our virtuous deeds, the one who has fallen from the state of yoga will be born into the home of pure, noble and illustrious souls. We should be noble, we should be pure, we should be illustrious, and give an opportunity consciously for those yogis who have not made it the last time to have a chance this time through us. May we be that vehicle for those noble souls to be born through us. That is the message that I would like to leave you all today with as we end this presentation, expressing my gratitude, because for me gratitude is the highest attitude. When we are grateful to the universe, when we are grateful to our parents, when we are grateful to our teachers, when we are grateful to our society, when we are grateful to life itself, our blessings grow. And when we are not grateful, they go down. The more grateful you are for your blessing, the more blessed you become. And that is why for me gratitude is the highest attitude, because you realize you are not the big thing, but you are brought up there by the whole universe who brings you together. That is where we want to go. And offering my gratitude to my parents, my mother and father who have given me this life, given me the training to be able to stand in front of you today and express my thoughts, the illustrious Parampara, and grateful to our university and our respected Vice Chancellor, sir, who are giving us this opportunity for a yoga therapy education research center to function in a healthcare university, in a hospital setting, where we are moving from alternative, complementary, to integrative medicine. Alternative medicine is you or me, it is dichotomy. Complementary medicine is you and me, but integrative medicine is us. And in our university, we are part of a beautiful system where we together can help our patients, our students, and hopefully transform society step by step. Thanking you very much for this wonderful opportunity. May we all grow together. May we all glow together in yoga.